Good morning to everyone present here. Today I'm going to share a small article regarding exception handling in JavaScript. So before going to the topic, we'll see what is exception handling. It is a mechanism used to manage runtime errors in a program. So instead of letting the program crash when an error occurs, exception handling allows developers to detect, handle, and respond to errors gracefully. So which improves the reliability and user experience of applications. An exception is an unexpected event or error that occurs during the execution of a program. So these errors interrupt the normal flow of the program and can arise due to various reasons such as invalid input, network issues, or logical mistakes in the code. So why exception handling is very important? Because it prevents sudden termination of the program and also it helps to maintain the normal flow of the execution. And meanwhile, it improves the debugging by providing error information and also allows developers to display meaningful messages to users instead of technical errors. And also, it ensures better application stability and reliability. So, what may be the types of errors in JavaScript? So, the JavaScript provides different types of errors. It may be a syntax error, runtime error, or a logical error. So, syntax error, which occurs when the code does not follow JavaScript syntax rules, so they are detected before the execution. And also the runtime errors. These error occurs while the program is running, such as accessing defined variables or invalid operations. And also the logical errors. These are the mistakes in the program. Logic do not produce errors but lead to incorrect results. And these are the error handling mechanism, like how the JavaScript uses a structured approach to handle exceptions. So the mechanism allows developers to monitor risky operations, catch errors when they occur, execute alternate actions, and ensure certain tasks always run regardless of errors. And how do they throw these exceptions? JavaScript allows developers to create their own exceptions. This is useful when a program needs to enforce a specific rules or conditions. By throwing exceptions manually, developers can ensure that invalid situations are properly handled. But in error, and what are the built-in error objects? So the JavaScript provides several built-in error types to represent different kinds of problems. So error, it can be a general type error or a type error occurs when the value is not the expected type or reference error occurs when accessing a variable that does not exist or range error occurs when a value is outside the allowed range and syntax errors maybe occurs due to incorrect syntax. And each error object contains useful information such as error message and also the stack trace. And finally, we have a finally block concept, which provides a mechanism to execute certain statements regardless of whether an error occurs or not. This is useful for cleanup activities such as closing resources or stopping processes. And so basically an exception is a runtime error. So while a program is executing without interrupting the normal program flow. And also it provides exception for preventing the application crashes or handling the unexpected inputs and also showing user-friendly messages and which maintains the application stability. And these are the keywords which are used for handling your exceptions, like a try, catch, and finally block. So try whenever we are expecting some error in a code, like the block of code may contain a file which has to be open or a database which has to be open, or it can have an division error. So these types of code can be given inside your try block. And also, if we want to have an if we want to cache that error, so which has been caught in a try block, it will be cached in your cache block. And finally, block will execute certain statements which whether error occurs or not. And it is also used for the cleanup activities like closing some resources or stopping some processes. And also the throw creates an user exception and throws to a particular part of the code. So exception handling in well, unlike these are the types of errors which we have seen already. And then exception handling in asynchronous mode. So when in modern JavaScript, many operations are asynchronous, such as API calls or find handling. And exception handling in such cases requires special handling mechanism to properly catch and manage errors without breaking the execution flow. And this is an code which we have used without an exception handling. Here we have two variables called a and b, in which a has been assigned a value called 10 and b has been assigned a value called 0. So when we try to divide a number by 0, it will throw an error. So it causes an division by 0 error. So, but when we uses the exception handling mechanism, so the same code has been rewritten with exception handling mechanism, like using try and catch block. So here again we have two variables called a and b, in which two values are assigned. And here if we are giving a condition like if b is 0, so then we are throwing an user exception called division by 0 is not allowed. And then if it is not 0, a number can be divided by 0, and then the result can be viewed in your log file. So here the error is caught, and then the program does not crash, and user sees a clear message which reminds the code executes normally. Thank you.